Alex Pereira's record. Alex Pereira has emerged as one of the most compelling candidates for Fighter of the Year, and it's hard to argue otherwise. Breaking records and defying expectations, Poatan achieved an unprecedented 3 title defenses within just 175 days, surpassing the previous record held by Ronda Rousey, who accomplished the same feat in 189 days. After losing his middleweight gold in the first title defense at UFC 287, Brazilian made the bold move to light heavyweight, a decision met with skepticism by many fans. However, Pereira silenced all the doubters in dramatic fashion. In his division debut, he edged out a razor-close decision against former champion Jan Blachowicz, earning him an immediate shot at the vacant title. At UFC 295, Alex faced another former champion, Jiří Procházka, in a battle for the gold. Poatan outsmarted the Czech samurai and delivered a stunning knockout in the second round. Claiming his place as the 9th two-division champion in the UFC history. What followed was a year of relentless dominance. At UFC 300, Pereira stepped in on short notice to save the anniversary event, taking on another former champion, Jamal Hill. Alex ended the fight in the first round with his signature left hook submission, getting the black BJJ belt for that win.
Please, get out of here.
That was enough to skyrocket Brazilians' already high stock, but the best part is yet to come. Just 3 months later, Pereira had to save another event due to McGregor's pullout, where he defended his title in a rematch against Procházka, finishing the Czech samurai with a brutal head kick early in the second round. But even that is not all. Less than 3 months after that, Alex returned to the octagon on UFC 307 to face Khalil Rountree, ranked number 8, a move unheard of for a reigning champion. Though visibly worn from his relentless activity through the year, Pereira turned up the heat in the 4th round, finishing the Warhorse via TKO and setting a new record for defending his title 3 times in the shortest span of time. These remarkable achievements skyrocketed already popular Pereira into superstardom, making him one of the main faces of the UFC. Now a fan favorite, ranked 3rd in the pound-for-pound ranking, just behind Johnny the Meat, Alex Pereira has proven himself not only a dominant champion, but also an embodiment of what it means to be the real champion fighter of the year. El Matador's triumph. In 2020, with Jon Jones stepping away, it felt like the era of dominant champions had come to an end. Fighters like Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo, and George St. Pierre, names that comes up in GOAT discussions, seemed like relics of the past. Yet within a few years, a new generation of champions emerged in Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Alexander Volkanovski. By early 2024, only Volkanovski remained atop his division, boasting 5 title defenses as he prepared for a 6th one against an undefeated prodigy, Ilia Topuria, the Spanish-Georgian phenom who had demolished everyone in his path to the top. Despite coming off a knockout loss in a higher weight class against current pound-for-pound #1 fighter Islam Makhachev, the Great entered the fight as the favorite. The build-up to the bout was electric, drawing comparisons to the historic clash between Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo. On one side stood the established, battle-hardened champion who had already proven everything. On the other, a brash, fiery contender who promised to finish the Great in the first round.
I'm gonna see what's gonna happen to you. I'm gonna humble you. I'm gonna show you levels. I'm gonna walk the floor with you.
Fighter with the belt, and
On February 18th at UFC 298, Topuria made good on his words, stopping Volkanovski's featherweight reign with a thunderous sniper-like knockout in the second round. It was a seismic shift in the division, signaling the end of one era and the start of another. The next challenger was clear: Max Holloway, a legend who had served as the division's gatekeeper for nearly a decade and had beaten nearly everyone in the 145 pounds but Volkanovski. Who else, if not him, could truly test the mettle of the newly crowned champion? El Matador, true to his brash persona, unleashed a torrent of trash talk, vowing to become the first man to knock out the blessed Hawaiian.
No one of them have the power I have in my hands. No one of them have the skills I have. I will be the first one to take his lights out. Trust me, you're gonna wake up from a long sleep. You will see 2 more days.
He even offered Holloway to stand and bang in the center of the octagon for the first 10 seconds, just as he did it to Gaethje.
The first 10 seconds, I will be waiting for you in the middle of the octagon. That's it for the fans.
On fight night at UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi, Ilya delivered on his promises one more time. As the opening bell rang, he pointed to the ground, daring Holloway to brawl. But the veteran refused to play by his rules. However, it didn't matter. The fight lasted less than 3 rounds, with Topuria landing a decisive blow to separate Holloway from the consciousness, becoming the first man to ever knock out the Blessed and making me wrong personally.
Careful that he doesn't punch himself out. Oh! Massive knockdown from Topuria! And still, he does it again! Ilya Topuria!
Earlier in the year, many fans, including me, criticized Topuria for his brash trash talk, accusing him of overstepping his place in the division. By year's end, all the doubters, again, including me, were silenced. In the span of 1 year, Ilya Topuria managed to dismantle 2 of the greatest featherweights in history, proving beyond doubt that he is the elite of the 145-pound division. A new king had arrived, and the featherweight division would never be the same. However, all of this is nothing more than the handiwork of an alarmingly fast-evolving artificial intelligence, one that has mastered the art of generating photorealistic images and videos. None of it ever truly happened. Someone really ought to take control of this before it spirals any further. Jon Jones's shameful return. The greatest fighter of all time, and the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, according to his main cheerleader Dana White. Jon Jones made a triumphant return in March 2023 after a 3-year hiatus, capturing the heavyweight title.
Jon Jones, the greatest of all time, and now the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world!
In the eyes of the journalists compiling the pound-for-pound rankings, this achievement was enough to displace the actively competing and steamrolling everyone on their ways, Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev, and put Johnny Boy to the top of it. For some reason, fight fans were not happy with this arrangement. I wonder why. Among the most vocal critics was Islam Makhachev, who publicly voiced his frustration.
Who give him? We have to check that moment.
After all, not only had Makhachev weren't moved to the top spot following his victory over pound-for-pound #1 Volkanovski, but both of them were now overshadowed by a man who hadn't fought in years.
Oh, yeah, baby. Y'all want to see me beat up Stipe? Stipe Miocic, I hope you're training, my guy. You're the greatest heavyweight of all time, and that's what I want. I want you, real bad.
At the time, the heavyweight division lacked clear contenders, so Jones's challenge to the veteran Stipe Miocic didn't initially draw much ire. Their fight was scheduled for November, but during another training session, the meat injured his shoulder, requiring surgery and an extended recovery period. To save the tournament, the UFC decided to contest an interim championship belt between the division's most dangerous finishers, Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich. Aspinall, just yesterday drinking beer on his couch, emerged victorious with a devastating first-round knockout, and the world eagerly awaited for a showdown between the British Phantom and the GOAT. However, Jones seriously continued to insist, as if nothing had happened, that Stipe was the main contender and his next target, completely ignoring the emergence of a real and mandatory challenger on the horizon.
Bro, I became champion when you were 18 years old. I've been here for years. I don't know where you've been this whole time, but I've always been here. You beat Sergey. That's the only thing you've done. Bro, sit down, create your own legacy.
Adding fuel to the fire, during the John's absence, the Brit managed to defend his interim belt against Curtis Blades at UFC 304 in July of 2024, avenging a previous injury-induced loss in front of a raucous British crowd.
Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
This made him the first fighter in UFC history to defend an interim belt, but not being promoted to the undisputed status. The call for Jones to fight Aspinall in a unification bout grew deafening, with fans increasingly viewing the Brit as the real heavyweight champion.
I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad, but for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him.
Bones's dismissive remarks, like calling Aspinall's accomplishments insignificant, fanned the flames of outrage. At one point, probably to fuel the fans' anger even more, Jones even entertained the idea of fighting Alex Pereira, which makes a bit of a sense as a super fight, or other lesser opponents like Derek Lewis and Jamal Hill, sparking accusations of ducking.